Well, the weekend has begun, and we can do so much on this channel. Now, as you probably can guess, we have AEW Collision as our primary focus. So, as you know, we're still coming off after Double or Nothing, but we are heading to Fyter Fest, in case anybody asks. As you know, Kenny Omega will defend the AEW International Championship in a four-way. As you know, they've begun, of course, 3 qualifier matches. We already have one that's been announced for a winner, but 2 more have been, of course, chosen to be the ones to fill up the last 2 spots. So we'll see how things will roll up from there. And then, of course, we have Mina Shirakawa taking Sky Blue and various other matches as well. But first things first, if you're big fans, of course, of the Japanese wrestling scene, you're in luck. We are, of course, going to be doing reviews from 3 different promotions. The first one, of course, is from Pro Wrestling Wave. Now, this particular event, this took place recently back on April, of course. This is amongst those ones that I kind of been trying to do a review because it was the only one I can find to take a look. And this one's called the Itabashi Surprise on April 2025. This took place back on the 20th. And this one features the main event, the hardcore match between Masato Tanaka and, what's her name? Let me pull up my notes on this one. Oh yeah, Yuki Miyazaki. As you know, she'll be retiring soon. Then we have ChocoPro with their latest show, number 451. This one features, of course, 2 tag matches and 1 singles match. Then we have Baka Gaijin Friends with some interesting, good, fun matches. But Mr. Malo, as our current, of course, BK-G Openweight champion, will make her his first defense against Antonio Honda. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But as always and usual, we'll end up with this. We end this episode, of course, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Elite Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Elite Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping. So, it's time to boogie. So let's begin, of course, with Pro Wrestling Wave. Okay, Pro Wrestling Wave. This is one of their events that took place on back in April, on April 20th, in the Tokyo Square in Itabashi, and this one's called the Itabashi Surprise, April 2025. Let's begin with the first match. Our first match, of course, is Izuki Aoki taking on Asuka Got. Now, I have seen her before. Don't remember where. I think it was in New Blood, I believe. But kind of figured, excuse me, kind of figured this match was going to end with Aoki picking up the win, which she did. I mean, I can tell that she has the most experience in wrestling, so she picked up the win with the big splash, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Our next match, we have the best 2 out of 3 falls. We have from Colors, Yuko Sakurai versus Cherry. Now, our first fall goes in the favor to, of course, Yuko Sakurai when she applied a schoolboy. Second fall goes to Cherry when she picked up the pinfall. However, the third fall, this one where I did not expect it, I would have assumed, and I think many of you would have agreed with this, that it should have been a winner. But unfortunately, this match ended after 15 minutes in the time limit draw. So, nobody wins, nobody loses. So yeah, it ended with a draw. So, tough shame. Next up, we have tag team action. We have Saran teaming up with the founder of Pro Wrestling Wave, Yumi Oka. They take on Shin Sakura Iroda and Tai Hamna. Now, for those who know, I mentioned this countless times. Tai Hamna will be here in San Diego for a show, and don't forget, she'll be retiring in October. But the match itself was pretty interesting. Saran, many of you may not remember her. She actually was part of Ice Ribbon, but she left due to the situation that's been going on with the promotion for quite some time. But being in Wave kind of changed things as well. But in the end, I did see some great cohesion between both Oka and Saran. Saran applied a double foot stomp onto Iroda. Then of course Oka applied a big boot, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Oka picked up the win for her team. Next up, we have a bit of a Sendai Girls versus Wave type of match. Representing Sendai Girls, we have, of course, Yuna teaming up with Manami. As you know, very energetic. She just goes out and screams her lungs out. They take on Honoka and Kohaku. So it's interesting. Like I mentioned, this is more of a Sendai Girls versus Wave type of situation. But the real question, I think many people would think, okay, Wave would pick up the win. I would have assumed that would have been the case. But no, Manami, as you know, was excuse me, has more experience out of everybody in the ring. She was able to pick up the win with the diving body press onto Hanako, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now our main event is a hardcore match. We have Yuki Miyazaki taking on Masato Tanaka. Yeah, so basically we have our only male wrestler to participate, but this is a hardcore match. Basically, no rules are applied. You can use whatever plunder you can find, tables, ladders, and chairs, and all that. But in the end, of course, it was Masato Tanaka with the sliding D onto her, and just like that, it was over. So 1, 2, 3, done. But Masato Tanaka decided to give some words to her, pretty much believing that maybe she said some things about her, knowing that she's on the verge of retiring, which of course is no secret to me. But we'll see how that goes from there. That's pretty much it what happened. Now, I do know there were other events that took place after this, but this is the only one I was able to see. So I apologize to those who are probably thinking I should have done this way earlier. Yeah, but we were still coming off the time from WrestleMania, and other things were coming up. So I'm glad I did this here. I could have done this in another video type with the special episode, but nope. I decided I wanted to get it over with. So let's move on with our next review, and that is, of course, ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro number 451. This took place recently on the 25th of May. It opened up as usual with that same unknown female personnel I've seen, but I don't know her name. As usual, doing the greetings, giving the info of the entire event. But let's get started with that, of course. Our first match we have is Soy and Miyatsuba teaming up to take on Kaho, Hiromi, and Balinaki. Now, um, one thing is a good factor of this match is Soy and Miyatsuba. As you know, they have becoming a very strong, capable tag team. They are learning to pull in the ropes. I do know on the next Choco Pro show number 452, it does feature, of course, them, Soya and Mia, challenging for the Asian Dream Tag Team belts. So I like to consider that this match is a bit of a warm up for them. I mean, they're facing one guy, Balanaki, as you all know, he's a former tag champion with Mei Shruga. But of course, the factor is Kaho. You got to remember she is the least experienced in the group, and not to mention the smallest and possibly maybe a bit of the weakest because she's an easier target, and of course that's exactly what took place. Soy was able to pick up the win by pinning Kaho with her size. 1, 2, 3. It was over. So that's how it ends. Now our next match is another tag team match. We have the former tag champions, Chiko Shikawa and Sayaka Obihiro, or as we call her, Obi. They take on Tokiko Kihara, who used to be a former tag champion, until losing the title to, of course, what's her name? Sayaka, and of course, her name? Makoto. But however, Tokiko teams up with Sayaka. Now keep in mind, I will call Sayaka Obihiro as Obi in case anybody asks. But of course, the factor is if they would have picked up the pinfall on Sayaka, either way, Sayaka would have been a key factor for another opportunity of the tag belt against she and of course an Obi. But we do know that she and Sayaka are from the same class together. But in the end, it was of course a schoolboy by Obihiro onto Tokiko, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match is a non-title match. We have Hiro Yawada taking on Mei Shruga. Now, of course, as you all know, Mei Shruga is a very strong, capable wrestler. Not to mention, when it comes to her shenanigans, Balanaki has to put up with her shenanigans every single time. And of course, that's what she tried to do. But however, what was amazing is how this match ended. Somehow, Mei Shruga used leverage off the wall of the room and just apply her finisher move that she's known to do, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now the entire event ends with the jogging tournament, so I can tell you the person who won this tournament is Hiroya Yawada, but the runner-up is Kaho, so just like that. However, in the post-show, they celebrated the birthday of Hiroya. I'm not sure if this is her actual birthday or the anniversary of her debut. Not too 100% sure, but yeah. It was a pretty good show, not gonna lie, but it was really fun. So right now we're done with ChocoPro. Let's move on with Baka Gaijin and Friends. Okay, Baka Gaijin and Friends Volume 22. This took place on the 27th of May. Now we opened up with a bit of an interesting type of match. We have Sayaka dressed up as, of course, a somewhat version of Mao, calling herself Shikaku Saya, while Chris Brooks being Chris Brooks. They face against Kota Ibushi Kota, and Koshikawa calling herself Chi Brooks, which is interesting. Now, nothing too special for this match in particular, but it was a bit of fun because, of course, Sayaka tried to channel her inner Mao, which interesting is Mao and Chris Brooks have always been rivaled, but I think Chris Brooks would prefer this Mao better, because of course he can't stand him. But in the end, of course, it was Saya that picked up the win by pinfall on Dakota, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Mr. Bueno taking on Fuminori Abe. Now, this match you would presume, okay, Fuminori Abe is a very capable striker, but also capable, um, how do I say, technical wrestler. And of course, that's exactly what he's going to do. So he picked up the win when he applied the Omanji, Omaji Jatami, which is, of course, and just like that, he forced Mr. Bueno to, of course, tap out. Our next match is the BK-G Openweight Championship. Mr. Malo defends the championship for the first time against Antonio Honda. Now, one thing is about Honda is you got to be more careful with him because he's the kind of guy who will either stop the match, do the story, then the Fox thing, the whole thing, and whatever shenanigans he'll try to throw in. But of course, Mr. Bueno did not waver until, of course, without the ref watching, Mr. Malo low blowed Antonio Honda, then of course the unprettier, and just like that, he retained the championship. So, just like that. Now, our main event, we have the Brahman brothers, Shu and Kai, taking on the great Ueki and Manku, Munich. So basically, it was a tag team. For those who know the Brahman brothers, these guys are like the Gallaghers of pro wrestling, because the guy Gallagher who uses the watermelons, the wet people, that kind of is like that. But however, these guys always bring their plunder with them, whatever toys they have to dismantle their opponents. And of course, in the end, it was a combination of this thing they call on Munich, just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So show was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie, not the best, but it was pretty good. So I think that's pretty much it we have for Baka Gaijin Friends. Let's move on to our, I believe, our last review, which is AEW Collision. Okay, our last review, AEW Collision. As you know, we have the AEW International Fatal 4-Way Qualifier match. First, we have Claudio Castagnoli versus Commander. Now, this is not the first time that these two tangoed. If you guys remember, there was the Continental Classic where Commander defeated Castagnoli, all thanks to the help of Darby Allin. I'm sure Claudio Castagnoli was looking forward to get his revenge on Commander for what he did. Well, unfortunately, he might have got that covered when he uppercut him in the middle of the air and then gave him a pile driver. And then just like that, 1, 2, 3, he's in the 4-way, joining, of course, Kenny Omega. And I forgot who was the other person, but yes. Now, Swerve Strickland was interviewed by Lexi talking about the recent events. As you know, Swerve refuses to work with Hangman after everything that's happened, not to mention accusing him because of his relationship with the Bucks. But of course, Will Ospreay is trying to tell him this is no longer about us as individuals. This is about trying to claim back what was taken from AEW, and of course, it was the title. But of course, tensions between both Swerve and Will Ospreay has risen. But the real question is, will there ever be peace between both Hangman and and Swerve? We don't know. But however, Will is trying to get people to rally in order to take back what was taken. So we'll see how that rolls. Now, our next match, we have RPG Vice, Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta teaming up with the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita, taking on Tomohiro Ishii and of course the members of Paragon, consistent of Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. I have to say the match was pretty interesting, not to mention recently Paragon and of course RPG Vice had to deal with each other during the Adam Cole match, but now they get to deal with each other. But however, Rocky Romero, living up to his reputation as the king of sneaky style, he low blowed Ishii, but this allowed of course Takeshita to apply the raging fire onto Ishii, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, and of course that's how the Don Callis picked up the wins, all thanks to their sneaky noise. Now, our next match is the AEW Continental Championship. Anthony Bowens makes his first attempt against the Rainmaker, Kaguchika Okada. So you probably can guess where that's going to be. However, of course, this match could have won by Bowens, but of course Okada refuses to stay down, so he clogged him with, of course, a drop kick, and then of course applying the Rainmaker, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, we did see an interview with Daniel Garcia. As you know, he and Nigel McGuinness were unsuccessful losing to defeat FTR. However, I think the question remains what was next for him. And of course, Daddy Magic suggested they need to get back on track of what they're trying to do. However, that snake of the grass, Don Callis, is trying to persuade, of course, Daniel Garcia, saying that he's better off being by his side. But the real question is, will he go for it? That is something we don't know until we see something happen. Now, FTR, as you know, along with that snake Stokely, they of course put out a promo gloating about their successful win at Double or Nothing against, of course, Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia. However, it appears that they decided to deal with some Mexican luchadores. We're talking about Templario and Atlantis Jr. Now, of course, they decided to disrespect Atlantis Jr.'s father, Atlantis Sr., so of course they will deal with them soon enough in Mexico at the Grand Slam of Mexico. So that's going to be a lot of fun, so I can't wait to see that. Now, our next match, we have Sky Blue versus Mina Shirakawa. For those who remember, Mina Shirakawa defeated Julia Hart until Sky Blue attacked her out of nowhere, so this led to that. However, of course, we know Mina Shirakawa is very capable, what she can do, but in the end, it was, of course, Mina Shirakawa with the glamorous driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, Julia Hart decided to show up to beat up Mina Shirakawa, but luckily, Mina had an ally in her corner, and that is, of course, Toni Storm, who took care of business. So you can see, we will see those two, both teams, team up and Fighter Fist. It was later announced that, so I think it's going to be a heck of a match. Now, our next match, we have the Gates of Agony taking on a couple of guys named Jimo Kaminari and Cosmo Orion. Well, I can tell you that this match ended with, of course, the Gates of Agony when they applied, they opened the gates on, I think, Kaminami, and of course onto Orion, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, we have La Facción Ingobernable, Mortos, Rush, and Realístico taking on Top Flight and AR Fox. Now, when it comes to LI5, you all know that these guys don't play around. They're not here to play jokes. And of course, like Rush says, nothing happens without him saying so. And that's exactly what happens, you know. Basically, Rush was able to pick up the win when he applied the Bull's Horn onto Darius Martin, and just like that, it was over. However, we did see, of course, a beatdown coming from LI5, but luckily, AR Fox and Top Flight had some allies, Commander, and of course, Speedball Mike Bailey, who recently had his issues with them in the past. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, our main event is the other qualifier match for the AEW International Championship Fatal 4-Way at Fyter Fest. We have, of course, Hechiseto versus Máscara Dorada. I thought this match was pretty good. I mean, Hechiseto is a fantastic wrestler when it comes to technical wrestling, so that played out pretty well. But however, Máscara Dorada was the one who picked up the win when he applied a shooting star press, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So he joins Claudio, Kenny, and I forgot who was the other, into the course. Now I remember, it was Brody King. Brody King into this match, so that's going to be interesting. So we'll see what happens in Fyter Fest. So as of right now, I believe we are officially done with all our reviews. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. So welcome to our news updates. So let's begin as usual with upcoming events. First, we have GCW stuff. As you know, they will be next month in well, not next month, I mean in July, in Coney Island for a bash at the ballpark on the 19th of July, I believe. They have announced Jonathan Gresham will take on Deonna Purrazzo. So that's going to be a very interesting intergender match in a technical aspect. So we'll see how that rolls. Then, of course, they will be in Japan for a 3-day show. They announced 3 more names, and this one, I believe you guys know her. Shotzi Blackheart has been announced to participate. Then we have Drew Parker and, of course, Jimmy Lloyd. Um, then we have the Hit 'em Up event at Rutherford, New Jersey for Hit 'em Up on the 1st of August. We have Matt Cardona, Elena Black, formerly known as Cora Jade, Drew Parker, and Steve Macklin, who makes his debut on this one. Now, as you know, we will have the upcoming collaboration between Prestige, West Coast, and Deadlock Pro Wrestling with United. They announced that Cedric Alexander will be facing off against To the Moon. That's right. Trevor Lee, 2 former WWE superstars, will be in fact facing off each other. Now, on a note here, Prestige Wrestling has announced that they will broadcast this event for free on their YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested by the time this video is out, check it out. Now, House of Glory with their Puerto Rican weekend event takes place on the 7th of June. We have Marcus Mathers versus Mighty Monte. Then we have, of course, the House of Glory tag team belts on the line. Main event takes on Latino's Most Wanted. Then RevPro, as you know, once again they announced the British J Cup that will take place on the 14th of June. They just announced the 3rd entrant to participate, and that is the inevitable one, Ace Austin. So that's going to be interesting too. Now, Spark Joshi Puroesu has announced for their upcoming Ignite Texas event at Redford, Texas on the 29th of June. This is who's already been confirmed that will participate. Saki, Azuki, Koguma, Yuka Sakasaki, and Miyuki Mashita. So those are the names that have been announced for that. Now, Major Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling with Resurrection on the 5th of August in Montreal. 2 names have been announced that will be participating. Rohan Raja and Jonathan Gresham. Then, of course, we have Jersey Championship Wrestling with Born almost on the 4th of July. They'll take place on the 6th of July. LeBron Kozan will be participating. And then finally, of course, West Coast Pro in its own independent show. They'll have Cruel Summer. They'll take place on the 26th of July. They feature Mad Dog Connolly and Vinny Masario. So that's pretty much it for the upcoming events. Let's talk about certain developments. Now, many of you know this, that by the time this video is out, it already happened. The 10th anniversary of the debut of Sayuri Anu and Natsupoi happened. However, there is a wrestling fan who's a big-time Tam Nakano fan. Well, he attended, of course, the event, and guess who was there actually watching this event? You guessed it, Tam Nakano herself. Now, we haven't seen her since her loss to Sayaka Mitani, but it's great that she was there to support her 2 friends who she has known since she started out, Sayuri Anu and Natsupoi. We don't know what else. We do know recently Stardom President Taro Okada did mention that he was willing to offer a job in some fashion in Stardom, but we still don't know if she'll ever accept it. We know that she dedicated her entire career to Stardom. So we'll see how things will roll out. Now, many of you WWE fanatics will probably be surprised about this. You may have heard this, and this was reported by Fightful Select by Corey Brennan. Luke Jacobs, apparently he did not sign with WWE. Now, some of you may have heard that he was going to be signed. Well, apparently it did not, but he decided to maintain interest and at another time, and hopefully this could come back for him again. So we'll see where that goes. Wrestling Observer has reported that Nick Jackson has severe an injury during the Double or Nothing event when he applied a swanton in the tunnel, and that kind of messed things up for him right there. So he'll be out of action for a couple of weeks. Elektra Lopez, once again with an interview, she's saying that this is what happened. She was called up to side with Legado del Fantasma, but apparently her debut was canceled the day before it was supposed to happen. So basically, people who heard stories how WWE has been unfair, well, you're hearing this from the horse's mouth. But yes. Now, Mai Sakurai recently had a match against Shinno, um, whatever her name is. She had some words to say about her, and this is what she said. Let me pull it up real quick. This is what she said, and this was part of the interview with Sports Graphic Number. That, of course, she wondered if she's truly the Shino's debut match was given how well the rookie performed. She credited her for the emotion she showed in the match. Shino will compete in the second and third matches of her career, Friday, Saturday, teaming up with fellow super rookie Seri Yamaka. It is an incredible, bright future for the young egoist. So basically, she has succeeded in her match. I know that she pulled up every stop, so that's pretty good. On the good front here, for many of you guys may have heard, Tenille Dashwood, or formerly known as Emma, is now officially, of course, a U.S. citizen. So congratulations, Tenille Dashwood. So it's going to be fun. And then finally, of course, Bear Bronson, as you know, he has departed with AEW recently. Recently, he's been frustrated he's not been showing up. But however, he left a statement about his departure. Tomorrow, I will be a free agent, and to everyone that believes in me, to my family, and to my beautiful wife, I love you all. I am grateful to live this life grind. Now I can chase everything I've ever dreamed of in full force. Bet on Bear fucking Bronson. Good for him. Hopefully he'll be better. I know that he's not been himself ever since, his tag partner that he's known for years got arrested for what he did. So hopefully he reinvents himself even better. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for our everything. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we haven't decided yet. I do know we have the finals of the best of the Super Junior, so I may make the next episode more of a, of course, all about Japanese wrestling. So stay tuned for that. So we'll see. We'll see how things will roll up. But as of right now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.